Well, in a field of moderates, San Francisco Board of Supervisors President Aaron Peskin is the only true progressive candidate in the race for mayor. He served as supervisor for 17 years, representing District 3, which includes Chinatown, Fisherman's Wharf, and the Financial District.
And in a city famous for its liberal politics, Peskin has often led the charge. He's pushed for expanded rent control and a more compassionate approach to addressing homelessness, even as Mayor Breed and other candidates in the race call for a crackdown on encampments.
All right, let's continue our conversation with the candidates this afternoon, and we are joined here in the studio by San Francisco Board of Supervisors President Aaron Peskin. Good to have you here, Supervisor.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate the time. All right, we have been seeing a lot of political ads, including one of yours that's getting a lot of attention and has a lot of people talking here. Let's take a quick look.
Some say it's impossible to fix San Francisco. They also said you couldn't escape from Alcatraz. But watch me do both. Other candidates want to tear down San Francisco, but I'll build on what's already great to make it even better, with expanded rent control.
Oh, this is you, Supervisor, swimming from Alcatraz to San Francisco. First of all, let me just ask you, that is you, right?
Yeah, that's not me, that's me. It's not that far. It's only 1.25 miles. I've done it many times. I'm far from the world record. Yeah, I do all the time.
We're still very impressed.
We are impressed, absolutely. but the message in there is, you say, look, other candidates in this race, they're trying to tear down San Francisco. We know about the narrative that has developed around San Francisco, but I'm curious to get your sense. Is there a risk at all for you in trying to maybe downplay the seriousness of the issues San Francisco is facing when it comes to homelessness, housing, property crime?
San Francisco has some very real challenges, and I have some very real solutions, and I'm actually the candidate who knows how to get things done and has a history of getting things done. But I also think that San Francisco has to be done with the doom loop. We have to remember we still live in an incredible city with incredible people, and we should stop tearing San Francisco down while we are moving forward with real plans to get things better.
One of your plans, Supervisor, is to expand rent control. And you say that will actually lead to more housing being built. We all know that there is a homelessness crisis. There is an affordability crisis. So talk to us about your proposal and how it will actually lead to more housing in the city.
Yeah, I actually have a comprehensive proposal. I'm the only person who's written my entire proposal down. It's called From Crisis to Care, and it has a number of aspects, including systemic management reform, a regional approach to treatment, but it also calls for building more affordable housing and expanding rent control to the approximately 100,000 San Francisco tenants who do not have it. We have to stop homelessness before it begins. Over 60% of our unhoused population used to be housed in San Francisco.
But Supervisor, throughout your time at City Hall, you have often been criticized as being someone who is anti-housing. You're a strong supporter of what you call neighborhood preservation. You worked in many cases to stop efforts to have denser housing in certain neighborhoods here. With a shortage of affordable housing, I mean, isn't the idea that we need to build more? And how do you respond to the criticism that you're opposed to housing?
I am very proud of my record. Let's examine it. I have voted to build over 115,000 new homes in San Francisco, all over San Francisco at all income levels, more than every other candidate in this race combined. But we've done it by working with neighborhoods, not against neighborhoods. I know that San Francisco can build the affordable housing that it needs for our teachers and our nurses and our artists without turning Ocean Beach into Miami Beach.
You talk also in your ad about downtown recovery and also debunking this doom loop narrative. But downtown is struggling, Supervisor. I mean, the office vacancy rate remains really high. So what are your possible solutions to addressing that?
First of all, we have to start with clean and safe. And I have a long history with the officers and captains at Central Station that cover downtown, Chinatown, North Beach, and they know my work. I've worked with them for 25 years, and I'm proud that so many of those officers and captains are endorsing me for supervisor, and I've been working to grow our police staffing numbers. I am the co-author of Proposition F on this November's ballot to retain veteran officers and have have a documented plan to have a schools to officers pathway with forgivable college loans. That's a big part of it. We also have to bring things downtown it's never had, and I know that. I've worked downtown. I got my first job in San Francisco 35 years ago. We need arts and culture and entertainment. That's an aspect as well. And we need more residential downtown, and I authored legislation to make it easier to convert vacant office buildings to housing.
Yeah, part of the recovery, obviously, though, a lot of people agree that it has to include addressing conditions on the streets.
Right.
Let me ask you about the crisis that is homelessness in San Francisco. And I know you've criticized the approach that Mayor Breed is taking. She has really stepped up enforcement in clearing encampments from streets, and you disagree with that approach. You called it a political ploy. I'm curious how your approach would differ, and is there any scenario in which, if you're a mayor, you would order encampments to be cleared, and what would the criteria be?
Yeah, let me start with my experience as a supervisor. I have never gotten as many complaints about homelessness as I have since the mayor began these sweeps, because they're just moving homeless people from one neighborhood to another. So instead of them being in the Tenderloin, they're now all over Chinatown and the northeast corner of the city. I am calling for a regional approach. I want to lead a groundbreaking approach with San Jose, with Oakland, with the 9 Bay Area counties to refurbish unused and underutilized state facilities with the economies of scale to address our homeless problem, to address our behavioral health and our drug problem. I know we can do that together. I know these mayors. I've worked with them for years, and we just passed Prop 1. We have billions of dollars. Let's pool it together.
We're going to take a really quick break here, Supervisor, but appreciate you staying around because we do have more questions that we want to get to. We're following up on some of the concerns of San Francisco voters. We're going to continue our conversation when we move to talk about another important topic, and that is public safety. We touched a little bit on it, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth and ask about how you plan to address the heightened concerns, especially when it comes to break-ins and other property crimes. So stay right there with us.